The scream cut through the midnight silence like shattered glass. I froze in the driver's seat, headlights painting twisted shadows across the snow-covered road. The trees leaned unnaturally, bare branches clawing at the dark sky, and the air felt sharp. Too cold, too heavy. My fingers tightened on the steering wheel. It was probably nothing. Fireworks. A car backfiring. But the scream had a rhythm, a human fear embedded in it, one that didn't belong. The houses along the street were dark, windows blank and staring. The world was still, except for the echo that refused to fade. I swallowed, telling myself to move, to drive past, to pretend I hadn't heard anything. But my body betrayed me, stuck, heart hammering like a warning drum. The road ended at my house. The gate, which I remembered closing, stood wide open. The headlights cut across the yard, catching the gnarled shadows of the oak tree. Its branches reached like fingers, poised to snatch me from the car. I forced the door open and stepped inside. The house smelled of dust and something metallic, faint but unmistakable. My coat fell to the floor, and that's when I saw it, a glass angel ornament upright on the side table. I remembered knocking it over hours ago. My breath caught. The air thickened, and I could feel a presence just beyond my vision. A floorboard creaked. Slow. Deliberate. I turned, heart in my throat. Silence. Then a whisper, faint and chilling, slid along the walls. You weren't supposed to hear that. My blood ran cold. Somewhere deeper in the house, the shadows moved. I wasn't alone. And I wasn't meant to be. The angel's wings tilted, pointing toward the darkened hallway. The scream from the hook didn't fade. It settled. Like cold air trapped under the skin, it followed me down the narrow road, clung to the back of my neck as I drove. The dashboard clock glowed 12:17 a.m. Christmas night. No traffic. No lights in the houses lining the street. Just dark windows staring back, blind and watchful. I kept telling myself it was fireworks. Kids. A prank. But fireworks don't sound like someone realizing, too late, that they're not alone. I live alone. Always have. A rented house on the edge of town, close enough to hear the church bells, far enough that no one checks in unless something's already gone wrong. Christmas had passed quietly. A microwave dinner, the TV humming to fill the silence, my phone untouched. When midnight crept in, I'd decided to drive. No reason, really. Just to escape the weight of the walls. That was when I heard it. Now the road ended at my house. The gate stood open. I was sure I'd closed it. The headlights washed over the yard. The old oak tree cast long, crooked shadows across the porch, bending like fingers reaching for the door. I sat there longer than necessary, engine running, heart thudding in a way that felt loud enough to wake the dead. Get a grip, I muttered. The night didn't answer. Inside, the house smelled the same. Dust, old wood, and something faintly metallic. The heater clicked on, then off, like it couldn't decide whether to stay alive. I locked the door behind me. Checked it twice. Silence returned. Thick. Expectant. I shrugged off my coat and froze. The Christmas ornament on the side table was upright. It shouldn't have been. Earlier that evening, I'd knocked it over with my elbow. A cheap glass angel. Its wing chipped, halo bent. I remembered leaving it on its side, meaning to throw it away later. Now it stood straight, wings spread, facing the hallway. I stared at it, pulse creeping higher. Someone had been here. No footsteps. No broken lock. Just the angel watching. I picked it up. The glass was warm. I dropped it like it burned me. It didn't shatter, just rolled and stopped, pointing toward the back of the house. Toward the bedroom. That's when I heard the floorboard creak. One slow step. Then another. I stood still, barely breathing, listening to my own blood rush in my ears. The house was old, it made noises. I knew that. I'd lived here long enough to know which sounds belonged to it. This didn't. Hello. My voice cracked. The creaking stopped. Then, from somewhere deeper in the house, a whisper slid through the air. You weren't supposed to hear that. I didn't think. I ran. The bedroom door was half open. I slammed it shut behind me and twisted the lock. hand shaking so badly I almost missed. My chest burned as I backed away. Eyes darting over familiar shapes now turned hostile in the dark. The whisper came again, closer. It's always louder on Christmas. No, I said. I don't know who I was talking to. No, this isn't real. The door handle rattled. Once, twice. Then it went still. I waited, counted my breaths. 1, 2, 3. The handle turned slowly. The lock held. A soft laugh followed, low, pleased. I slid down against the wall, knees pulled to my chest. My phone buzzed in my hand. I hadn't realized I'd grabbed it. A notification. Unknown number. Did you like the scream? My fingers went numb. I typed back without thinking. Who is this? The reply came instantly. Someone who remembers last Christmas. Last Christmas, I'd been here too. Same house. Same quiet night. I tried to remember anything strange. Anything at all, but my mind came up blank like a door slammed shut. Another message. You opened the door then. You don't remember because you weren't supposed to survive it. The lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then the bedroom went dark. The whisper was right outside the door now, no longer hiding. We always come back on Christmas night. The lock clicked. And this time, it unlocked itself. The house felt different once I stepped inside after the angel incident. It was subtle at first, a whisper of movement in the corner of my eye, the faint metallic tang in the air, but the difference was there. I told myself it was stress, fatigue, the residue of last night's eerie drive, yet something in the silence pressed against me, cold and patient. I began noticing small things almost immediately. The ornaments I had scattered across the living room, ones I swore I left toppled, were upright. A chair I'd knocked against weeks ago now sat neatly against the table. I thought about calling a friend, someone to share my unease, but my phone buzzed on the table with no messages waiting. I was alone. Or at least I thought I was. The first whisper came that night. I was in the hallway, checking the windows, when a faint voice slithered along the wall, just enough to brush my consciousness. You shouldn't have come back. My fingers froze on the doorknob. I spun around. Nothing. Only shadows stretched across the walls, thin and unreal. I told myself it was my imagination, yet my heart pounded with a truth my mind refused to acknowledge. The next morning, a memory surfaced. Fragmented, like a dream I had forgotten. Last Christmas, the house had been just as silent. I hadn't remembered much, but there was something about a shadow at the end of the hallway, the same angel ornament appearing upright on the bed, and a chill that had settled in my bones. I shook it off, but the recollection left a residue, a sense that the past was creeping in to meet me in the present. Over the next few days, the occurrences escalated. Objects shifted subtly, a mug tilting on the edge of a table, a picture frame leaning against the wall though it had been hung perfectly straight, books on the shelves arranged differently each morning. The air itself felt heavier, as if something was watching, following, waiting. I began speaking aloud to myself, trying to reason with the silence. It's just the house. It's old. It makes noises. But even then, a shadow flickered at the corner of my vision, and I felt a pressure in my chest, a warning my rational mind refused to accept. One evening, while exploring the attic for forgotten Christmas decorations, I found a stack of old newspapers, yellowed and brittle. The headlines were mundane at first, local news, community events, but one article caught my eye. Local family disappears on Christmas Eve, house found empty. The house in the photograph. It was my house. Same creaking floorboards, same gnarled oak tree in the yard. The article dated decades back. I swallowed hard, the words lodging in my throat. That was when I noticed the attic shadows. They weren't shapeless. They moved with intent, as if aware of my discovery. I slammed the lid of the newspaper box shut, the sound echoing through the dark space, yet the shadows lingered, patient, observing. Neighbors began to act strangely as well. Mrs. Cranston, the old widow who lived 3 houses down, whispered warnings as I passed. You shouldn't be here alone. Not tonight. Not ever. Her eyes were wide, frantic, and yet familiar. I didn't recognize her voice at first, but the cadence, the timbre, It stirred a buried memory, like an echo of someone I should have remembered. I wanted to ask questions, to demand clarity, but the words froze in my throat. Her gaze held me, a warning and a plea tangled in one. I hurried past, heart hammering, wishing I could escape her knowledge, her fear, and her certainty. The nights grew worse. I began to hear voices through the walls. Sometimes indistinct, soft whispers that suggested memories of events I had never lived, or perhaps had forgotten. You left the door open. It remembers you. We always come back. At first, I thought the walls were settling, the house responding to the cold air, but then I heard them call my name, soft but urgent, from rooms I had just exited. My sanity teetered. I questioned whether I was dreaming, hallucinating, or being hunted. Flashbacks became relentless. I remembered Christmases I didn't know I had lived. Family gatherings I hadn't been part of, arguments I didn't recall, laughter that had frozen mid-air, only to be replaced by screams. The angel ornament, the one glass angel that had appeared repeatedly, was always present, always watching, a silent sentinel marking time, or perhaps marking me. I began seeing figures at the edge of my vision. Shadows tall and thin, lingering near the walls, vanishing when I turned. Sometimes they appeared in reflections, mirrored eyes staring back at me with hollow blackness. By the 10th night, I could no longer trust my own senses. Mirrors reflected more than my image. They reflected fear, figures moving behind me, shadows crawling across the floor. Objects shifted faster now, often in plain view. My own hands trembled when I tried to pick up the angel ornament, as if it resisted me, or perhaps repelled me. The whispering intensified. It spoke in sentences now, layered voices overlapping. Remember. Survive. You cannot leave. I covered my ears, screamed into the empty rooms, but the house absorbed my voice, twisted it, and returned it as something alien, something not mine. I tried leaving. I packed a bag, threw on a coat, and stepped out into the snow. But the streets were wrong. Trees arched impossibly over the road, the houses misaligned, doors opening and closing as if breathing. My car had vanished. The world beyond the house had warped into an extension of its malevolent will. I ran, desperate, but each step brought me back to the front gate. The angel ornament sat there, upright, halo glowing faintly in the moonlight, wings spread as if welcoming me home. I barricaded the door, but it was useless. The air shifted, the shadows lengthened, and the whispering turned into a chorus, overlapping in a way that tore at my mind. You cannot escape. You were always ours. You always come back. Panic surged through me, and I stumbled through rooms that seemed to stretch infinitely. Floorboards cracking and bending beneath invisible weight. Every familiar object now appeared alien. Twisted, threatening, alive with intent. I realized then that the house did not merely exist in space. It existed in memory, in fear, in inevitability. Every Christmas night it had returned. Every time I thought I had escaped, it had been waiting, patient, shaping my reality to its will. My own reflection had begun to speak, whispering warnings and accusations I could not understand, showing glimpses of versions of myself I had never been. And yet, the angel ornament remained constant, the only marker of continuity. Its silent presence reminded me that all attempts at escape were futile. The house fed on my fear, my memories, my very existence. It was patient. It was eternal. And it was coming for me, always, every Christmas night, until there would be nothing left of me at all. The house had become unrecognizable. Every corner twisted in ways it never had before. Hallways stretched too long, shadows clung to walls that didn't exist yesterday. I couldn't tell up from down, left from right. The floorboards groaned under my weight, but the sound wasn't mine. Something heavier, slower, stalking me, echoing my every step. I stumbled into the living room. The Christmas tree, once cheerful and bright, now hung limp, ornaments shattered like tiny bones. Its lights flickered, casting grotesque patterns on the walls. And there, in the center of the room, the angel ornament sat again. Upright. Smiling. Waiting. A whisper drifted across the room. Impossible to locate. You left the door open. I spun around. Empty. No one. Just the dark. Then the voice spoke again, closer. "It's your turn now." My own reflection caught in the shattered glass of the ornaments. But it wasn't mine. Eyes too wide, blackened, pupils like voids swallowing the light. My mouth opened, but the scream that came out wasn't my own. It was layered, multiplied, coming from all directions at once. I ran toward the bedroom. Doors slammed behind me as if the house itself were punishing my escape. Each step was mirrored by another creak, another echo that didn't belong. Shadows moved on their own, stretching, bending, forming faces that vanished when I blinked. I reached the bedroom door. It was open. My heart thudded in my throat. The angel ornament sat on the bed now, halo crooked, wings spread wide. On the wall behind it, words appeared, scratched, bleeding into the paint. "You should have listened." A cold hand clamped over my shoulder. I spun. Nothing. Only the air pressed against me like ice. The whisper returned, right in my ear, raspy and satisfied. "You were warned." The floor beneath me seemed to fall away. Time slowed. I was falling through space and memory at once, seeing flashes. Last Christmas, the year before, moments I didn't remember. The house wasn't new. It had been here for centuries, feeding on fear, remembering every scream it ever swallowed. I stumbled backward into the hallway. The walls closed in, narrow and suffocating. Every shadow became a hand, every whisper a scream. And then silence. I dared to breathe. A figure stepped from the darkness. Tall, impossibly thin, face hidden under a hood. Its voice was a chorus, layered, mocking, impossibly old. "You cannot leave. Not this night. Not ever." I turned, ran, slammed doors, but every exit led me back here. The angel ornament followed, hopping lightly, spinning on the floor toward me, tilting its head. "Do you remember last year?" I shook my head, but the memories slammed into me. A family I never knew, cries in the dark, the same whisper, the same house, every Christmas, always returning. The figure advanced. The air thickened, suffocating, pressing against my chest. My thoughts scattered. My own reflection in a broken mirror laughed at me, black eyes staring through my soul. "Your fear feeds me." I screamed. The walls pulsed like a heartbeat, floors heaving. I fell to my knees. The angel ornament tipped, then rolled, pointing at the figure. My phone vibrated violently in my pocket. I fumbled it, saw the message. "Unknown number, time's up." 1,000 whispers rose, layered, unrelenting, echoing through the house. Screams, laughter, confessions of victims past. My knees hit the floor, my body convulsing with terror, trying to flee a place that no longer had an outside. The figure raised a hand. Light bent around it. Reality fractured. The walls melted into darkness. The floor giving way. My own shadow pulled away from me, separating, walking toward the figure. I realized then it had been here inside me all along. Every scream I'd ignored, every chill I'd felt, every lonely Christmas night. It had grown, waiting. "Welcome back," it whispered. "We always return." The last thing I saw before the darkness swallowed me completely was the angel ornament, upright, smiling, wings spread wide, halo glowing faintly in impossible light. And then I was nothing. The house was quiet. No creaks, no whispers, no distant echoes of a scream. Only the hum of the heater, a shallow, lifeless rhythm that barely reached the corners of the dark rooms. Dust motes floated in the dim light, glinting faintly in the cold moonlight slipping through the cracked blinds. Outside, the snow had begun to fall again, soft and unrelenting, blanketing the world in white. The kind of snow that erases footprints, erases evidence, erases memory. Inside, nothing moved. Nothing lived. The bedroom door hung open. The angel ornament sat on the bed as if nothing had happened, upright, halo tilted, wings spread. Its tiny glass face reflected the pale moonlight, serene and mocking all at once. I reached for it once, but my fingers passed through nothing. An empty chill, a void where reality should have been. I couldn't scream. My body no longer belonged to me. My reflection no longer existed. The house had swallowed me whole, or perhaps left only a trace of what I once was. A thought, a memory, a shadow tethered to the endless recurrence of Christmas night. Through the windows, faint lights flickered in distant houses. Families celebrated unaware. The smell of baked pies of pine and cinnamon drifted across the quiet streets. And yet, in this house at the edge of town, nothing had changed. Time had paused. The air held its breath. The walls waited. A sound came from the hallway. Soft, deliberate. Footsteps that were too light, too measured. The angel ornament shifted slightly, as if acknowledging a presence unseen. Shadows pooled in the corners, thick and moving, taking shapes that suggested faces, hands, mouths, but never fully formed, never fully human. I understood then. The terror never left. It waited, always, for the next curious visitor, the next lonely soul foolish enough to be awake on Christmas night. It didn't need me alive. My fear, my memory, my very essence had been absorbed, folded into the house, folded into the dark. And the angel ornament remained, silent, unmoving, yet watching. Somewhere a door creaked. Somewhere a whisper slithered through the empty halls. See you next year. The snow fell harder. Outside, the world carried on, warm and bright. Inside, time was frozen, the house eternal. And I, or what was left of me, could only wait. Wait for the next scream, the next whisper, the next inevitable return. Christmas night ended. But for the house, it was only the beginning. The silence lingered. Heavy. Absolute. And in that silence, the terror whispered, and it would never stop.